Our first reading today is taken from the second book of Kings, chapter 5, verses 1 to 15, and narrates the story of the healing of the leprous Naaman by Elisha. Naaman was the commander of the king of Aram and was respected greatly by his king. He had been appointed, despite his leprosy, as the commander of the army. Naaman is told about the powers which Elisha has, and Naaman wants to go and see for himself if those powers are true. When Elisha gives him an advice about washing in the river, Naaman refuses to do that. However, the messenger who brought Elisha to Naaman says to him that if he can do this, which is such a simple act, it will show that he trusts the prophet's word. Naaman washes in the river and is cleansed of his leprosy. A miracle has been worked. In the gospel text of today, which is taken from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 4, verses 24 to 30, Jesus makes two references to the people of his hometown. The people of his hometown accepted him when he came there. The people of his hometown rejoiced at his presence when he was there. But the people of his hometown wanted him to be exclusive to them. The people of his hometown did not want to include others in this salvation which Jesus brought. And Jesus says that unlike Elisha, who brought salvation merely to Naaman, he has come to bring salvation to the whole world. And he gives examples of how already in the Old Testament, God was not exclusive. God includes everyone who comes to God for help. And in the story of the widow of Zarephath, when there was a famine in that town, this widow was the one whom God reached out to through his prophet. In the time of Naaman, the Syrian commander, it was Naaman who was not really counted among those who were chosen, who was healed. By giving the example of the widow on the one hand, and of the person who was not counted as part of the elite group, Naaman on the other, what Jesus is telling the people of his time and telling us is that we must not be exclusive. God is too big for us to think we can control God or pigeonhole him. Yes, we might use different names for God. We might refer to God in a different manner. We might worship God in different ways. But the point remains that God will always be beyond our grasp. The great theologian Thomas Aquinas, after he wrote his 5-volume Summa Theologica, where he also gives proofs for God's existence, but after his work had been completed and he finished writing all his treatises and theses, knelt down and said about God, the only thing we can say is we do not know. In the gospel text of today, Jesus very clearly is inviting us to encounter this mystery of God. And the beauty of God is that each one of us can encounter him so deeply, but there will always be so much more that we will never encounter. Let us thank God for the revelation that God has made to us in Jesus. And let us learn from Jesus how never to be exclusive, but to include all those who are searching and wanting to go towards God.